We already started. Oh, I think we already live.
Yeah, it's already live.
Hey, let's get it, man.
What's good, y'all?
Well,
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Let's get our comments up.
Let's see here.
Okay.
All right. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? Week 2. What up, Elvin? We beat the Mangy Tigers in 3rd Ward. So,
yes, sir.
Should be a good week.
Another day, another dollar, another great day to be a Panther. What's going on, Panther Nation? We have a total of 3 special guests tonight for us. We have the special Mr. Mark Henry, who does have his own platform that we'll definitely shout out once we give him the floor in a few seconds. We also have former 5-year starter at the offensive line, Kobe Lewis, and former All-SWAC offensive lineman, Arrington Taylor. We're in for a great day, but Mr. Henry, I want to give you the floor, man, and just give you time to introduce yourself.
Well, man, I appreciate you guys for having me on, man. Mark Henry here. I'm a native Houstonian, so I know all about the Labor Day Classic. You know what I'm saying? Grew up on the north side of Houston.
All right.
Booker T. Washington High School. My dad's an alum, so I know all about Prairie View. Have travel around. I'm a football scout in the state of Texas, so I cover high school and college football. So, this is what I do. I have the On Your Mark show, which I just finished up earlier today. On Your Mark show YouTube channel and onyourmarksports.com. So, man, check it out. I appreciate the opportunity. And listen, man, let's talk about that big victory, man. I'm really, really, really excited for what Prairie View has and what you guys got on tap for this week. I think that's going to be a great game as well.
Let's do it. I can't wait to get to that game. But unfortunately, we got to talk about some other blunders in the SWAC. I don't know if you guys had a chance to catch this game. This one came on a little earlier at around 2 o'clock. Howard ends up pulling off the upset against FAMU in a shocking manner. If I'm correct, FAMU did not score a single touchdown. From what I'm seeing in the fans' reactions, they want another quarterback, and I genuinely do feel bad. I can't remember his name at this moment. I want to say his name is RJ Hampton, but I might be making that up. Okay. In my opinion, it was their first game, and they have a lot of kinks to work out. But the play calling was there. From what I've seen on ESPN, there were multiple plays where it just seemed like the quarterback missed his read, or especially on the little halfback wheels. And I believe that he should get another opportunity to be able to prove himself. But I want to open up the floor to you guys, and if you guys have any thoughts about this game.
Absolutely. So, I didn't get a chance to really watch a ton of this game, right? But I got a chance to look at just a few stats after the fact. Well, based on what I'm seeing and what I've seen, it was a pretty dull game. Some might call it a defensive matchup, but I really don't have enough to go off of by looking at the game to see how well the defenses played. What I can say, though, is I'm pretty surprised that FAMU kind of lost this game. We all picked them, if memory serves me correct, on our picks last week to beat Howard. And looking at kind of some of the stats, they controlled time of possession. So they had 33 minutes, whereas Howard had 26. There really weren't a whole lot of turnovers in this game. Howard had 1 turnover and 1 INT. Another kind of major thing that stood out to me is, FAMU outgained them. They had 183 yards passing. Howard had 145. So everything about this says that FAMU should pull this game out, even though they didn't score a touchdown. And, with, 3rd down efficiency and 4th down efficiency, it was really even. I think I'm looking at Howard was 6 out of 16. FAMU was 5 out of 16. So they were pretty much neck and neck at third down efficiency. And then fourth down efficiency, Howard was 1-on-1. So I think all in all, a pretty dull game and just probably very disappointing for the FAMU fan base for sure. I think Howard, is big for them, right? They pull out a win in the SWAC, prove a little bit more legitimacy for the coach up there, whereas I've been hearing that he's on the hot seat. So all in all, not the most interesting game, but definitely a twist to the season thus far, that really none of us saw coming. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, man. How about your other guys? You want?
Oh yeah, it was definitely not a great way to start off the year. Not being able to score, not having that offense flowing, that's definitely frustrating. And I know that's getting to them. Hey, we gotta shout out to Howard going out there, being able to win the game in the clutch. Y'all kicked 3 field goals. We kicked 1 more. That mattered. So when it came to that, a very heartbreaking loss for the Rattlers, but they should be able to shake back. They just gotta get that offense flowing, and they only allowed 10 points. So the defense is doing something well.
Right.
Yeah. I'll go. So what I say for the most part, because I've seen a lot of things like after their loss, they already talking about having a coach fired and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And also, because I already know when stuff goes and hit the fan, the first person I'm looking at is the coach. But the defense was doing their thing, was holding their ground. But how long can the defense hold their ground if the offense is not really taking advantage? And I just say this, they just have to rebuild on that offense and actually find that true quarterback. Because also I'm seeing a lot of people saying they need a new quarterback, but Colby's talking about he's going to keep the same person. So either they're going to have to make some adjustments with him or find somebody different. That's just me.
No, true. I would say looking at FAMU's schedule, my mind is kind of drawn to the thoughts of, what happens with the next few games. They play FAU this coming week.
Right.
Then they have Albany State, which they should win. And then they have Alabama State, which as of right now, I'm picking Alabama State based on how Andrew Body's performing there. Now with the offense he's putting up. So, and then watch this. The game after that is Mississippi Valley, who they lost to last year to break their home game winning streak at Bragg. So I think all in all, those first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the first 5 games, they have a high potential to go 2-5, 1-5. I'm sorry, 2, whatever it is. So all in all, this is not looking good for the head coach when his seat is already pretty warm. But we'll see what happens and if he can get this quarterback situation figured out because, FAMU like to fire people. So
I'll keep it short and sweet. It's not many games that you're going to win with 3 field goals. You can't say the special teams unit performed well, which is an aspect that you do need to have. But 3 field goals, then in most games, you're not going to muster up a win. And obviously Howard made one more better play to get themselves the dub. So if you're FAMU, you gotta be happy with the kicking game, but then the defense play well. And usually, you guys know this as as ball players, defenses are usually ahead of offenses at this time of the year. In the first week of the season. So, both defenses played well, but it could have been, looking at the numbers, were very pedestrian. Tariq Starks was 17 for 28 for 145 yards, and RJ Robinson was 17 for 32 for 183 yards. Not real efficient. And then the running games, 12 for 30 yards, and Somerset, 9 carries for 37 yards. We got some offensive linemen in the house. You can't establish a running game with that least amount of carries. So the line of scrimmage was not won as well. So those are probably the things that I will take away from it.
I definitely agree. On to our next subject of the night. JSU gets it done in front of 13,000 at home versus Hampton. I was able to take a look at this game as well. Well, just so everybody knows, I just recently had a newborn, so I'm pretty much on house arrest. But I will be going outside for the UTRGV game this weekend. But the JSU game was very, very interesting to me. What I've been seeing in the SWAC, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, but in the beginning of every game in the SWAC, I feel like there has been some crazy 60-yard run, and a running back always breaks for like this 60-yard rushing touchdown, and you automatically assume that the team that gave up that run is going to lose. And all of a sudden, their run game just gets completely shut down after that. And that's what I watched Jackson State do at home versus Hampton. Hampton, in my opinion, fed off the energy in the beginning, but once their offense stifled and Jackson State was able to adjust, knowing that, hey, once we shut down this run game, you guys don't have enough faith in your quarterback to get open, especially with their talented pass rush. Things started to kind of get out of hand very quickly. Ahmad Miller tore him up. Even though he only had 16 carries, 172 and 2 touchdowns, I mean, it got really brutal towards the end, and I don't think the score really reflected what happened on the field that day.
I think that, and I'll keep my point short, I think this is where, looking at the data, this is where it was lost. Hampton had 3 turnovers. Jackson had 0.
Okay.
Hampton had 2 fumbles, and they threw an INT. Yep. And in a place, like the Vet, where they do have a good home crowd and, people get behind them, right? You can't do that. You can't go in there and think that you're going to have 3 turnovers and win a ball game. It's just not going to happen because they play good, sound football, especially on defense. And so speaking to Mark's point earlier, we know Jackson's defense is what it is year in and year out. They're going to find some studs across the board. They're going to have a great DN. They're going to be tough up the middle, right? And their linebacker core is going to be great, and they're going to have some 6'2" corners. So you know the system there. You can't go in there with 3 turnovers and expect to, just come out swinging. It just is probably not going to happen. So I think ultimately, looking at some of the data, that's what stood out to me the most. And then obviously, like you spoke to, Ahmad Miller, they rushed for more than what they threw. So they ran the ball a ton. And for him to run for 172 yards with 2 touchdowns and 10, that was with 10 carries too. That's impressive. I don't care who you are. And so to me, that showed that, Hampton just got worn out. And, and the funny thing about all of this, Jackson had less time of possession.
Man.
You would think.
I did not know that.
You would think they had more time of possession. No, Jackson had 26 minutes, whereas Hampton had 33.
Man.
So they just played a much more sounder, tight game. And they said, we're just going to ground and pound. And then when we can take shots and get you in the air, that's what we're going to do. So that's how I looked at the whole situation.
Well, he averaged 17 yards a carry.
It's crazy.
On 10 carries. So that says that the offensive line was moving some bodies. Anytime you can get your big fellas eating like that, why not make it easier for them? You control the tempo. Maybe not the time of possession, but they control the tempo. And like you said, they leaned on them and wore them down. 28-14, that's a really good victory for those guys in the opening week.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, JSU, we've been beefing with them on Twitter all day, so we can stop talking about it.
Man. It's always a battle. It's always a battle. Let me see. Now, to the best game of the week, the most watched game on SWAC TV, the Thriller in Houston. To start this recap off, I'm going to bring in our former O-line, Mr. Kobe Lewis and Arrington Taylor. And if you guys could give me an O-line breakdown and give me not only your grade, but also a particular player that stood out to you guys on the O-line, even though we had a tremendous amount of penalties.
Whew. All right, so, besides the penalties, we can work on that. It's just a week 1 thing, we got to work on that. But from the O-line up front, one thing I'll say, shout out Jermaine Jackson. He went and got some size on that O-line. Hey, I'm at that game. I'm like, oh, yeah, them boys are big. So, hey, shout out Jermaine Jackson for that. He said he was going to bring them in. He went and brought in some size. So we're just going to start off as an overall grade. I had us at a B- with a run blocking grade for a B-. You know, we have some plays that we could have finished running. We could have finished some guys off. You know, we can work on that throughout the time. As week one thing, you know, hey, I'm sorry, the big boys, we get in shape to last. It just is what it is. So I gave us a B- with our run game. Bigman still had 80 yards, 89 yards rushing. So they gave him the ball. We were able to get Cam Peters the ball in great situational times. So I'll go ahead and give our run game a B-. Now our pass game, we had a couple quarterback hits, but that's just, hey, that's playing football. We throw the ball 40 times. We hope the other team's D-line can get there. I gave our pass blocking a B for this week. You know, always room for improvement. We threw the ball 40 times, all right? So, hey, 40 times with the game-winning touchdown throwing the ball with no pressure on that, by the way.
Right.
So, and I had one guy that just caught my eye every time I'm on the field, every time I'm looking. He just caught my eye, and that was Dylan Spencer, the right guard.
Okay.
Him and the center played the whole game. We rotated 8 guys whole game. Pedro and Dylan Spencer played the whole game. But Dylan Spencer, man, he's just a big mauler up front. It's multiple plays I'm seeing him putting people on the ground. He's finishing blocks after the play, putting people on the ground. You know, we all have our mess ups, but he's just a guy that really caught my eye for this week. So I'll give him my offensive lineman of the week. That goes to number 70, Dylan Spencer, the right guard. And just for everybody else, we played 8 guys. Our left guard, the left guard and left tackle tandem, they got rotated out. Hey, I didn't see a difference when our left guard and left tackle switched. Hey, I didn't even know. I just had to pay attention to know that it was a difference. And we played another right tackle. They got some different burn. You know, week one, we don't want to gas the guys out. Told you, hey, we get in shape to last. So it was a good week from the O-line. Just a couple things we can work on is helping our quarterback up when he gets sacked. And helping our running back up. That's just a little effort thing that's going to get with the team camaraderie. But after defeating TSU, I just know we're this much tighter. We're this much closer. And bringing it back to the Hill this week for opening weekend, oh, yeah. First game on the Hill, we're going to bring it.
I like it. I like it. Mr. Taylor, how we feeling?
The GOAT, man. I just before you speak, Arrington, I remember watching you play, man. I always respected your game. So, but please go ahead. I think you're on mute, boss.
Yes, sir. You're clear.
Oh, you can hear him? I can't hear him.
Yeah, I can't even hear.
Oh, there we go.
Introductory. I want to say that one thing that I noticed about PV that they are believing and trusting in their coaches. Like, you know what I'm saying? They didn't have everything figured out the first game, but they fought in the end as a team, and they fought to the last second. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you can't ask for much more than that out your guys. So for the offensive line run grade, I gave them a B. I felt there were times that we were engaged with blockers, and then we'll let them slip off. Bigman toting the ball, he's a good guy. You know what I'm saying? You give him the ball in his hands, he can do something special. You feel me? So I really just, if we can see more engaged and reestablishing our line of scrimmage, hey, we're gonna be all right.
I like that.
Nice.
Our pass grade, the pass grade that I gave the online was a B-. And just pivoting back off of Kobe, like, you know what I'm saying? I expect the quarterback to get hit. It is part of football. You know what I'm saying? Like, we want to be as flawless as possible, but it's part of football. But there's times where the O-line gave Cam Peters enough time to do what he's coached. Man, that guy can make some plays, dog.
Yeah.
If you give him the time and let him trust his coach, man, hey, they can put up a lot of points. You know what I'm saying? So that's my overall take on the O-line. I feel like we're going to be better. You know what I'm saying? It's just the first game. We ain't played football in Lord knows how long, a couple months. You know what I'm saying? We just knocking a little rust off, man. That's all that is. So I'm looking forward to the next game.
Definitely. And Mr. Henry, you know, I want to pick your brain. I know you work with a lot of these talented individuals from all over the country. And
Mhm.
I really just want to get the chance to pick your brain and how you evaluate not only Prairie View's O line but also TSU's.
Well, everything starts up front as those two guys that you have on know. You gotta establish the running game early. In a rivalry game like that, he mentioned the penalties. You can expect it to be chippy, but 15 for over a buck, that's a
Mm.
lot. There's some things that you got to clean up, but you want your guys to have a nasty attitude when it comes to blocking. And
Right.
they really feature Chase Bingham a lot. He's from Terrell, Texas, redshirt freshman.
Yes, sir.
He's a guy that can get it done. I really like his build at 5'9" and like 180 pounds. That's the kind of back that you want to tote it. The days of guys just being one size or too small or not big enough.
Yes,
He's
sir.
the guy that can hide behind that offensive line. And he mentioned that, Coach Jackson made an emphasis on getting some big nasties in that offensive line. That's what you have to have in order. That's the winning formula. When Coach Jackson got here, he made it a point that he was going to really bring in guys, through the portal to change the mindset, to change the culture. And you can see from those particular, rushing yards that they wanted to establish that. But I was really impressed with Cameron Peters, his moxie, his ability to make plays at the end of the game. That's a telltale sign of success that I think that Prairie View is going to have this year when it comes to offensive football. Now, the penalties they have to clean up, and big plays they'll have to, going forward when they get in the SWAC play. But I think, like you said earlier, coming to the hill with the UTRGV is going to be a big game for Prairie View this week, and I look forward to seeing how these guys bring welcome in, because you mentioned earlier, that's a Rowdy and Ruckus crowd, a fan base that had over 12,000 for their inaugural game.
Mhm.
They're going to come in and they're going to be hot stepping on this, but it's up to the Panthers to kind of calm that down a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So let me ask you guys this. All of you guys are offensive line experts. We did rotate eight guys, right, throughout the game. I think that's what was mentioned.
Yeah.
When you rotate talent like that, is it typical for there to not be as much talent drop off? Because for myself, I felt like the talent, like that was mentioned previously, it really didn't drop off that much. I would say the right side of the offensive line is a little bit stronger than the left side as of now. Not necessarily ability wise. I just think they played a little bit better, right? But what do you guys think about that? Like, because I've seen games where you try to bring in your twos or what would be your twos and your threes, and it's just night and day different. And it reflects in the game. But we really didn't see that in this game. So, what are y'all thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that is just being able to recruit the guys and letting them know that I'm pretty sure Coach Carlson told them, hey, y'all guys are going to play. I'm traveling y'all to TSU. Y'all are going to play. I seen him take out the left side in the middle of a drive. And we went on to still continue to move the ball. So I just think it's more of I want to keep you guys fresh so I can play the best of your ability. And at the end of the day, we're still Panthers. Your success is our success. And I know I want to play every down, but hey, Coach sees the stuff you don't see. He see you're a little slow on that step. Let me go ahead and get you out and get a breather. So it's just a whole bunch of recruiting. And hey, at the end of the day, those guys are still fighting for their position. How bad do you want it? You have to still show Coach Carlson, show Coach Jackson what the business is. How bad do you want it? Who plays the best in the big moments and the moments where nobody's looking?
Nah, I agree as well. I feel like if a coach is rotating 6 to 7 guys on the O line in the middle of drives or different quarters, I need to know who's gonna be able to play with me in the long run. Like when we get deep in the season, and then I ain't gonna be able to rotate. I ain't gonna be able to rotate 8 guys every game. At some point, I got to find the right 5, and I got to rock with it. Because you got to build chemistry on the O line. You steady mixing guys in, and we try to do that all season. Where the real chemistry at? Well, I know how he played, but now he finna go over the right tackle, so now I got another guy. You feel what I'm saying? So I just believe Coach did a pretty good job. They did fight hard. They had toughness and grit, and they fought to the very end. So I feel like with the rotations, and they get back to watching film and figuring out who's good at what. And like they say, they want to play their brand of football. So whoever can play their brand of football for every down, that's what we're gonna roll with. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, Mark, did you have any thoughts on that, boss?
Well, I think he hit it on at first. It's all about recruiting. I think that Coach Jackson and his staff, they came in the door, they kicked the door in, and they want to establish that toughness, and they want to have that. You have to take that on the road, going into a hostile environment, as well as, you got to face that humidity down in that area. So you want to keep fresh bodies attacking, and that's what they were able to do. He mentioned that they rotated 8 or 9 guys in. That you got to have no drop off when you have that too deep, because you're one play away. Injuries, people get hurt. A lot of times around the state of Texas this time of year, guys cramp up a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Hydration, and being fluid in movement. The days of the O linemen where they just big and slow are over with. You got these guys
Yep.
who are athletic, have skinny ankles, guys that can really punch and get to the second level. That's what you got to have.
Yes,
And,
sir.
and that's an interesting point. So you're saying there's environmental concerns that went into this
Absolutely.
game, thinking
Oh,
about
yeah.
Absolutely.
where we're playing,
100.
because we all know it gets hot as
Hey,
you know what,
Shell Life
right?
Stadium,
In that stadium, yeah.
man, when
Right.
you're on that field, it's like you're in like a hot sauna. There's no air
Steamy.
flowing there. I don't know
Steamy.
how they play
Right.
there every home game. It's no
Right.
air circulation. Man, it's so hot out there. So it was definitely a keeping them fresh. The guys that need to stay fresh, like as a coach, you got to know your guys. You got to know how many plays can this guy give me his 100%. And that's all comes with evaluation. And it's still week 1. So
So
just
as
keep them
fans, I'm sorry,
fresh,
go ahead.
especially in Shell Life.
So as fans, we gotta have some comfort in thinking, and our coaching staff thinking like, hey, if they're thinking about it even on that level, we must be in some really good hands, right? In terms of just, hey, depending on even where we're playing, we're gonna have a strategy for how we go about attacking the game. So I really like that, and I appreciate y'all's answers on that.
Right.
I only had one other question, if you don't mind, Kaylor.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, just one quick. So, are there any specific players on the offensive line that you guys see that say, hey, I feel like their game mirrors my game the most when I was playing?
Oh yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, y'all like, no, y'all like, I was too good, I whoop these boys. They're not like me. I'm old school, you know what I mean? They're not like me. Yeah.
I'm gonna be
Yeah,
completely
over
honest.
there
I can't.
blocking after the play, putting people on the ground. Hey, I want to say he had the most pancakes. I gotta probably go back and look at it, but he had the most pancakes and the most knockdowns. So hey, he playing like me. I'm like, okay, hey, he caught my eye for a reason now. Hey, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not even gonna quick to jump it. I don't think nobody has my play style in the like me personally, but there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of potential. You feel what I'm saying? Everybody has the potential to be good and be great at what they do. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like when we see in the upcoming games, in the conference games, we'll see more of the identity of the O line. Right now, I wouldn't say we have a identity. And that's what we're looking for. And that's okay. It's just the first week. When we get the formula and we get it, and when we get it purified, it's gonna be on and rolling for sure.
Well, we got to put some respect on your name. You were all SWAC, right? When you played?
Yes, sir.
Two-time also.
So that's coming from some. They got some big shoes to fill, so I can respect that 1,000%. But yeah, Mark, do you have any thoughts on it, boss?
All I'm gonna say is 6'4", 349 pounds. You got somebody that's a road grader and that's moving the crowd, like Rakim used to say. So, I mean, that's what you want on the offensive line. He's establishing that dominance now, and for PV to come out swinging like that, that's what you want in your team. And each week, it's going to be a challenge. I think that's great coaching to have that depth as well. It can't just be all about the guys on the outside. It starts with the guys up front that set the tone for the game.
1,000%.
Yes, sir. And I seen a great comment from Darius, and we can kind of start bouncing around and really just recapping the game itself at this point. Darius asked, do you guys have any concern at this point for our defense not pressuring the quarterback without calling the blitz? From my very novice football experience and knowledge, from my opinion, I believe that our defensive line has a set of rules, especially establishing the edge. We ran a lot of 3-down linemen. And when you have that little amount of people in the box and D line actually on the line, you kind of have to mix that pressure. I also seen them send a lot of send pressures and end up dropping back in coverage. We weren't able to get any turnovers off it, and I believe one time KJ Cooper lit us up for that one-on-one matchup he had for that 40-yard pass deep down the middle in the first half of the game. But I know that either Kobe Arrington or Mr. Henry could give us a further better analysis of that.
Well, if they're in the 3-4 look, that means they got their backers have got to be pretty fast. Those guys are space eaters, and they want to gobble up those guards and centers to keep those linebackers clean. So it may be they want a pressure look to get. They're going to have to do some blitzing and put pressure on the offenses to get those blitzes and to get home. So that may be something. And then, sometimes it's just a situation where they're not going to show everything in that first game. They got a lot of football left to play. And that means that they trust those guys out wide on the island to make some plays for you. But, definitely those guys up front have to have a big job of keeping those linebackers clean if they're playing 3-4 front.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, like you said, they're running the 3-4. They expect their D linemen to they're there to stop the run. They're plugging those gaps.
Right.
We have constant movement on the whole defense. So us bringing the pressure, that comes with part of mixing up everything, like he kind of said. Our initial 3 down, I'm just sorry, as a former old lineman, 3 down, we shouldn't get pressure. 5 should be able to block 3 any day of the week. It's just simple as
Any day of the week.
So
Any
us
day of the
mixing
week.
up the offensive line's mind, making the quarterback think, bluffing blitzes, that definitely helps us get more pressure and open up the thing. So that's probably why you see more of the only getting pressure while we're blitzing. Because when we running 3, we're probably trying to stop that run. Show us. We're dropping 8. Show us you can throw the ball.
Right.
Just like that.
Right.
That makes sense.
I think that you guys hit the nail on the head. And, as fans, I always say this offline. There's always considerations that we either A, don't know about, or that B, we don't keep in mind when looking at a game plan, depending on the week, right? So Mark hinted at it, and talked about it, but, really not showing so much as far as the playbook is going to help us as we go week to week moving forward in the season. And then I think the other thing to keep in mind is, based on the players on the offensive side of the ball for TSU, what is our game plan for them? We already knew who QB1 was going into this game in KJ Cooper. So we had a reference point to say, hey, how does he play? What is his style? What does he do best? And what does he not do so well? So I think they were saying, yes, we're going to make you throw the ball to see if you can do that, right? Because we know that you may not be as great of a runner. So that you've kind of taken that away for us. We don't have to necessarily send the house to you because we don't really account for you doing much running, right? And so I think all in all, that kind of was more so it than anything else. So to answer your question, Mr. Malone, I'm not concerned. I trust our coaching. I trust the game planning and the decision making. And I think what I know about the 2-1-2 defense and what you can find online, it's on YouTube. You'll see us we will blitz. We will blitz you. He said Coach Jack has not told a single lie since he's become our coach, right? And that's one of the very key things he said. We are going to blitz. We are coming, right? But I don't think this game required us doing that as far as the gameplay. So.
Right. Especially in True Seeker, with TSU. In my opinion, TSU did look really good. There were just a lot of penalties on both sides, right? But KJ Cooper had a lot of plays where he made throws with people in his face. He also had a play where he rolls out the pocket, dang near stiffs on somebody, and still throws a dot for that corner route, to at that time to take the lead. So I think that. Did we have sacks? No, but we had pressures. And with the very, very crappy reporting of stats from ESPN, which we kind of need to get onto them for, it's really, really hard to kind of get the proper details in there. But I do believe that TSU is a lot better than what the penalties showed yesterday, or not yesterday, last week. I just think that they're a really good ball team, and they're going to be, if not first in the West, second. They're going to beat Southern. They're going to beat Grambling for sure.
Oh, yeah,
I can only
definitely.
see them struggling against Jackson and FAMU because I think that that's actually on their schedule. We lucked up this year. We don't have to, deal with any of those guys. But based on you guys' evaluation, how do y'all feel about TSU? Because I don't believe that they, just because they lost, all of a sudden now they're sorry.
Argo. I say TSU was actually a good team, like, to be honest, on both sides, especially on the offense. Because one player that caught my eyes was number 84. I think his last name was Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he caught my eyes a lot. Like, he actually showed out for them, although they did not get the W. He showed out a lot. Like, even on the catches that he didn't catch, and he got the PIs and stuff. It's like he gave our defense, our DBs kind of like something to work with, like showing that this dude is not nothing to play with. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, that's the one dude that caught my eyes. Of course, KJ Cooper did his thing too, especially on that last touchdown they had. That last touchdown they had, like dude was in like all in his face, and he still made that pass and still made it to the end zone. Like, that was crazy. That was like shocking to me.
One thing I say about how do I feel about TSU. Well, when we talk about TSU, we're gonna talk about our conference in general because it's like no matter if you're the number one or number two team in the SWAC or if you're the bottom, it's still gonna be a competitive game, and that's a fact. At the end of the day, and TSU has always been one of those teams. Yeah, they might not have the winning success, but they play hard, and they gonna try to beat you.
Definitely.
At the end of the day, so I feel like TSU, it goes as far as how bad they want it.
Yeah, and I can pick back off you right quick, Ayrton. Because matter of fact, I remember it was back in 2023 was y'all last year playing. Because I remember we all in trade zones out that day getting a haircut or whatever, and I was watching the Alcorn and TSU game on my phone, and of course people had Alcorn winning because they had to lose that game for us to even go to the SWAC championship or even have a chance. Yeah, you remember that, Kobe? Yeah. And I'm watching it, and TSU just dogging Alcorn out, and I'm like, these boys, although these boys don't have nothing to play for, these boys ain't finna give up. Like, they're gonna end their season. If they gotta end that last game with a win, they're gonna do that.
If they want to mess up somebody's season going to a championship, that goes for any team in the SWAC. They will do it.
Yeah, they're
They
known to
go
do
from
it.
Valley, Texas, Southern, Palm Bluff. They will do it.
They will do it because that day when we was in Tracy's house that day, when I was watching it, yeah, they definitely did that, bro. It was like 44 to like 13. Yeah, they did that, bro.
Oh yeah, that's when Owens went off for like 200 rushing yards. I remember that game. I remember that game.
So I would say right now in the SWAC West, there's a strong case to say they're the second best team in the SWAC West right now.
100%.
Based on what we've seen thus far.
100%.
Yeah, you agree.
100%.
I mean, and I think the data suggests that, right? If I'm gonna lean to my delusion here, I think PV is the best team in SWAC West currently, right? And if you look at the stats on this game, at least what's on ESPN, I know a few of them are wrong, but we were pretty much even in a lot of categories, right? So whether that be third down efficiency, fourth down efficiency. The only areas where we kind of outgained them was obviously total yards. We just had a field day in passing yards, and we were slightly above them in rushing yards. But I would say they're probably the second best team, and they do have a legitimate shot to actually win the side of the conference. So bias aside, I think they're a pretty good team. So
yeah, agree.
Absolutely. But
alrighty, guys, and just to talk more about just some of the players of the game. I wish I would have had time to prepare some of the different stats so that I could put it on paper for you guys. But of course, we had Cam Peters, 22 of 38, 295 yards, a touchdown, one interception. He also had 43 rushing yards. I believe he had 2 passing touchdowns. You know, the stats were coming in incorrect.
Yeah, it was two. It was
Uh,
two.
He
It
did.
was
He had
two.
to.
yeah, he had 2. We also
He had
had,
one to Hickman, and the last one, game winner.
and we also had, in my opinion, we had 2 standout performances. Josiah Rockwell with 6 catches, 72 yards. He was a constant first down target, sure hands guy. It just seemed like he was open all night. And of course, we got Heckerman, who just somehow found his way open a few times down the field. And it just seemed like he would always slip out off that line and end up wide open. And then we have some defensive standouts that I'd love to shout out. We had Ashton Ojaiku with 5 total tackles, a pass breakup. Kennedy Parker had 4 tackles. Also, they have a tackle and a half for loss. I'll make it 2. He had a tackle for loss, and I believe he had the safety as well. And then we also had our starting linebacker, number 3, Sterling Roberts, show out with 4 tackles and a forced fumble. And, you know, just being vulnerable with you guys, this is the most turnovers I've seen from PV in one game in a long time. You know, and you normally don't see it that way in fumbles. How did you guys feel about some of these, not only offensive standouts, but defensive standouts?
I felt great, man. Any game that your team has a safety, I'm seeing safety. I'm seeing this hit guy fumble. TSU got popping the ball up. Man, we got the whole crowd live, man. So I feel like we're out there playing fast and physical, and getting to the ball. You know, just getting the safety already, helping us get that lead towards the end of the game to get a little momentum switch. That was very great. And the coverage part, you know, penalties happen. We had a lot of penalties as well on both sides of the ball. And coverage, hey, you're a DB. It's kind of one of the hardest positions to play. So things are going to happen, but you can't let that go down as long as you keep playing. And we got our stop when we really needed it the most.
Agreed.
Well, if you take a look at the stats, you got to shout out Kellen Stewart in the kick return game, 5
Man,
returns for 125 yards, over 25 yards an attempt. That's field position. That's putting you in the right position on the plus side of things when it comes to being in a position to make scoring drives. So you got to shout him out as well. Special teams is important for those guys, and that put them in position to flip the field as well.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna go Rodney Ojo. I think that at the end of the day, you know, for that guy to be so young, he's definitely waited his turn a couple of seasons as he was a recruit of Coach McDowell. And to come in for his first game with significant playing time and to win the game, be the person to win the game the way he did or be a part of that process, you have to, you know, I mean, he didn't have a bad day. He had 5 receptions for 93 yards, and 1 touchdown. But, you know, I think that you have to look at that and say, man, you know what? Here's your golden star. You know, we got to reward you with something because he could have easily dropped that ball, even though it was pretty open. But the ball wasn't in front of him as well. It was sort of behind him. So I would have to say my game ball would probably go to, obviously, you know, Cam, but he's another guy that you would have to consider.
I'll second that also.
All right. And we had some tremendous improvements to that DB room. You know, I'm seeing a lot of guys shout out Trevor Randall, who, in my opinion, was the steal of the offseason for us, getting him to transfer out of ULM to come make our secondary what I would believe to be 2 times better. When we look back at 2023, the last time we won the West and made it all the way to Tallahassee, we lost that game off DB play alone, right? They had multiple penalties. They had over 100 yards in pass interferences in that SWAC championship game. And they also really stopped any momentum that our defense had. So being able to see defensive backs, being able to actually guard their man, being able to stay on their assignment and know that when we have that 3 high look, nobody is going to burn them for 40 yards. You know, I'm able to sleep at night.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, I think we mentioned it on the last show, but I have it on decent authority that when the Giants came to practice maybe a week or so ago, they were coming to look at him. Trevor Randall, and he's definitely a guy that's going to be a star. I would actually like to see the secondary clean up a few things. I think some of the penalties and some of the decision making could be a little bit better. They played well, but at times they weren't turning their head fully, keeping their eye on the ball, and so obviously it's a rivalry game, so you kind of have to keep that notch in there. But I like to see them clean up the play. But obviously we know half the team is DB, so I think that is a holy channel, y'all. Lionel gonna get me. He gonna find me, but I think that you got to have some high expectations for that room because of how many DBs we have and how much depth we have there, and really a lot of those guys had playing time other places before at PV. So they said PV can't play like they did last Saturday. UTRGV is more. I'm gonna be honest. I think that we're hyping them up a little bit too much. They played a good game against a Division III opponent, but I don't know. We don't have enough to go off of to just say that they're going to be that much better. I think on the one hand, you could say that. On the other hand, you could say they probably could fall apart because this will be their first FCS opponent, right? So someone that you say, hey, this should be, even kilter talent across the board. And you got to keep in mind, like 70% of the team is freshmen. So, inexperience and or lack of quality depth could be a factor in this game coming up as well. So I'm of the opinion that they're going to be a good team because they have some momentum behind them. People are coming to support. They're bringing bus loads, etc. But I don't know that necessarily equates to on the field play. I would defer to PV in the situation being able to pull apart somewhere late in the third quarter.
I agree with you on that part. Isaiah, because I was saying this earlier, people was hyping it up. Like, yeah, they beat them bad, you feel me? But I also wouldn't put them on a high pedestal because of that game. Because first, to be honest, not knocking Soil Ross, but let's just be honest, like that was like a pay me game to be real. And plus, like, not be funny, but Valley could go and beat them 66-0, to be honest, if you want to keep it 100. So, like, I just want to really use that game as like, oh, what they true identity. Like, they play a team like Northwestern somebody, and they beat them like that or something like that, or at least they played a full game against them and we can have film on that, then yeah, we can go out there and take that more serious than them playing a D3 or D2 school. But that's just me.
Well, if our offense can go out there and hold the ball like we did against TSU, if I'm not mistaken, we had the ball for 29 minutes. 29 minutes of the game, man. That's a lot of time towards TSU. So we can go out there, as I seen in the comments, we're using our tight ends. Hey, our tight ends are another thing that's a real sleeper. I don't want to talk too much on them, but they're a real sleeper pick. So we go out there, and we at the crib. It's private property. It's gonna be good. That band gonna be playing. Hey, they better be ready to hear a band. That's all I know. You coming to the hill, you better be ready to hear a band playing in your ear. So
absolutely,
just those guys having to get used to the environment and the valley, man, that's like an 8-hour trip to come down here. So hey, those legs are ready for that bus ride down.
Hey, they bringing two buses.
Hey, two buses. Hey, you might need 3 for that long ride.
So PV's time possession was actually 38 minutes.
38 minutes. I'm sorry.
What I'm looking at. So
38 minutes.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be real. Just talking about TSU game for a little bit. We left at least 2 to 3 touchdowns.
Easy.
And you gotta look at that. You can look at that a couple different ways, but for me, I would be optimistic in saying if we can just clean that up, we could see us convert on those touchdowns in a game like this coming up this week, which could send a strong statement about where our program is headed. And I think that's really it's not even just about getting the win. That's important, but winning by 2 touchdowns or more, I think that sends a strong message that, okay, PV is definitely taking steps to be in what they say they want to be. So just wanted to throw in that little nugget.
I want to speak on the OC as well. I like the way that he called plays.
Hang on, AT, your mic messing up a little bit.
Hey, your mic messing up, brother.
Try it again. Oh, hang on, let me add them back. Let me see.
That's a good point, Mr. Bowers. And his son plays on the current team. That's a very good point. This is the first time in a while offense has kind of controlled the game in a time of possession standpoint. And you got to kind of look at that as, hey, you know what? That's going to win a lot of ball games.
Absolutely.
Being in position to score that long in a game, that's going to win a ton of ball games just off the strength of, you know, hey, you know what? We know who we have to play. Once we get into conference play, some of the, you know, there's a talent gap in the conference. There's no shade, but that's the truth. I think that gives us an advantage in a lot of those matchups. So if we can keep doing more of that and throwing the ball almost 40 times, I mean, that's, you know, that is what that is. But absolutely, good point, Mr. Bowers. Trying to stall while AT gets back in.
Hey, is my mic back okay?
Yeah, you good now. You
Good.
good.
All right, for sure. But I was saying that I like how the OC how he caught his plays and set us up to be successful. Because yeah, we would have liked to see more big shot plays taken down the field. But for the most part, we have 3-4 yards to play.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with you at all. I think that namely it should have been a touchdown. I think Rodney Ojo actually missed on. The ball was probably a little bit further in front of him when he gave it to the running back threw it right back to the QB, and he threw that thing. I was like, man, that was a thing of beauty. It really was. All they had to do was catch it, you know, and that would have been great. So some of the calls, I would say for Coach Buckner, this was a pretty decently called game for a coming out game, and obviously we got the win. So and you know, that's always great. So yeah, but I guess while AT tries to get situated, we can go back to talking about UTRGV, but not to drag us backwards. But
you good.
But to look at UTRGV, I noticed that they like to pass the ball a lot.
Yeah.
So I would love to see that, and we're gonna send the pressure first day in front of our fans. I'm assuming we're gonna send the pressure, and we're also gonna drop 8 on them. Throw the ball out there you want to. Think that's what's gonna fly. It's very hard to drop 8 and throw the ball. You know, big game coming up. We get to see them against a true defense, a real defense, a defense that has a game under their belt, so they can make adjustments. We have film on them. We didn't have any film on TSU, so we're going out there kind of blind, which is why Labor Day Classic always hard. You don't know what they're going to come out in on both sides of the ball. So with us having film on them, I think our defense is going to be ready. And like Jermaine Jackson said, we're going to send that heat. We're going to send them dogs.
We coming.
We come.
Well, I think you have to establish your identity early. And that's one thing they're going to do. And then if you just simply look at the penalties, 15 is excessive. If you cut that to single digits, that also improves the field position. Penalties stop drives. And you have to look at that as stopping momentum as well. So I know that Coach Jackson and those guys are going to go back to the film, and they're going to really, really harp on cleaning up the penalties. Because if you get penalties in single digits, that's more of better field position for you and a chance for you to have more possessions of the football. 38 minutes is great. You want that. You know what I'm saying? Now, throwing the ball 40 times, maybe you don't want that depending on the opponent. Obviously, there was something that the coaches were seeing upstairs for them to really focus on that and then kind of mix it up with the run. Then, you know, I agree, watching a little bit of the film on some of the highlights for UTRGV, they want to pass the football. And, you know, Marburger, he's got an arm. You know, he came from UTSA. He was 18 and 19. That's pretty efficient.
Right.
So, you know, I'm with the big fella. You know what I'm saying? They're going to have to get some pressure. This is where, you know, I saw a comment earlier asking about the ability to get pressure. You know, you can expect some cross dog blitzes and some you know, some zone blitzes coming out of that 3-4 package. That's what, like you said, dropping 8 and dropping 7 and funneling everything inside and making tackles in front of you, keep everything in front of you. That's the kind of defense you want to play against a pass happy team. Nothing behind me.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
And to talk about that talent, like I said, I did minor research over their quarterback, but having a red shirt senior as your quarterback for your first season with all these transfers and younger guys,
That's a luxury.
that with whether he played 100 games, whether he played 10, he was still in an FBS program for 4 going on 5 years, depending on if he was there for COVID or not. And with that experience, you can go anywhere and win. He can always maintain and keep his team with the proper composure that they need to go win. Now, Prairie View might get a little loud and rowdy, but when they go down to UIW in front of those 1,000 fans, they can control that. They can control playing again in Nacogdoches versus SFA. So, like I said, me and Mr. Henry were talking earlier about some of the names that he's mentioned. I'm like, man, I've heard of some of these names too. They really got some guys. And,
Right.
they have Schenkel from our team who was a starter last year. So they have guys that they can plug and play. But from the highlights, I seen nothing on their defense. I couldn't tell you what they run. I couldn't tell you how big the D-line is. I just genuinely don't know. So that's just the one thing that I'm waiting to see, because they did shut them out.
Right. So for me, I'm gonna take y'all here with this for a little bit. For me, kind of glancing out their roster and looking at what we have and kind of looking at the two film, right? I'm gonna say this, for our HBCUs, as at large, we are not great in out of conference play with PWI schools. For what reason, I don't know, right? But PV is a little bit better than most, I would say, especially in recent history. We've gotten quite a few wins, but still, it's still not where it needs to be or where it should be, because this is supposed to be equal talent. I will say it will come down to two things: discipline and depth. That's why I feel PV is going to pull it out. I think discipline in games like this, we've seen enough games that we've either won versus a Houston Christian, and then also coming back and then losing badly by Houston Christian, as well as, UIW, we've beaten them, we've lost to them, etc. I've seen enough of these games over the last few years to know we've come into games that we've won much more disciplined than the other team when it mattered most. We've lost those games because we weren't disciplined from Jump Street. And It has been two wild extremes with past coaching regime. So that portion, and then just quality depth. I trust our depth more than I trust their depth. And so I think whoever gets tired first, whoever's able to take advantage of mistakes first, that's who's going to pull the game out. And then you'll start to see the distance happening on the scoreboard. So that's what I think it'll come down to for sure with this game.
Yeah. Definitely. So now we got to do a little bit of recap. I know we talked about some of these games earlier, but last week we were able to. Oh, my bad, guys. We were able to go over some pick'ems that we had for the week. Of course, we had the Valley versus Southern game. Southern, you did your thing on the road. I didn't have any faith in you, but you came out. Jackson State, we all agreed that Jackson State was going to handle business at the vet. FAMU versus Howard, man, did we get that wrong? I don't know how we got it wrong, but we're 0 for 4. So we're going to have to make that up this week. And me and Isaiah, we have the CNI. We knew Alcorn was too good to be true, and that they were going to give their first win of Northwestern State since 2022.
So let me speak to that real quick. I just think it goes back to that point I was just making a minute ago. For some reason, when we see, and I'm going to say it like it needs to be said, when we see these white out-of-conference teams, for some reason, something either goes right or it goes wrong. And more often than not, it goes wrong. And it goes wrong quickly. Why that is, I don't know, but it's like we forget how to play football. I totally wanted Alcorn to win, but something in me, looking at, and this is no disrespect, but looking at the coaching, looking at the track record and how they play out of conference games, they more often than not lose those games. So for my pick state, I want to win. So my pick state, I was like, well, I think Northwest is going to win, but obviously I'm SWAC, so I want Alcorn to win. They did not look great, right? They'll tell you that themselves. And this game was really, it was poor from beginning, from Jump Street. They did not come prepared at all, and we can't have that. That just, it is what it is. But I think for us, this is a valuable lesson that we can learn and show our guys, like, hey, this is what we don't want to do come Saturday. Because it will not make for what we're saying we're supposed to be and who we are. We brought in 70+ transfers. We're trying to be FCS National Championship Celebration Bowl good. Games like this, especially against lower tier, out of conference Southland teams, we for sure cannot be losing in the way that that game was lost. So, that's just my take on it. And, I'm welcoming all opinions, but that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. Yeah. How would you grade our picks, Mr. Henry? I feel like I did the best, but I don't know. Even though I shot two? What was I? 2 for 4?
2 and 2.
Well, I mean, if you finish 500, I mean, picking is just like gambling. It's just something you got to throw up in the air and make sure it happens, But I did see that. I see someone said the Northwestern State rushed the field. They were happy as like a kid at Christmas. You know what I mean? And it was one of those things. I mean, since 2022, that's a drought, and it's not losing. That's a drought. But if you're Alcorn State, you got to regroup. Don't hold your head. Again, it's just one game. You're speaking about TSU and how good they play. It's just one game.
Yep.
So you can't live off of that. And if I'm the coach and I'm in that locker room, that's what I'm telling my guys. Hey, it's one game. It's a barometer. It's going to show who did what. It may be some changes or adjustments we have to make based on the play and based on the film. But I mean, you got to go with that. You got to go with your gut. And this is one of those things where you kind of learn your team. Going like you said, go. It may be a thing where you take these games like the guys got games this week that are going to be tough. I think TSU. Somebody goes to California this week, right?
Yeah,
TSU, yes sir.
Right.
Yes sir.
Okay. It could be they get into these type of situations where it's the big lights, the bright lights, big city type of thing, and they kind of get befuddled a little bit, and then by the time it's time to strap that chin strap up and you get hit in the mouth, then that's when it changes back to football. But then it may be too late all the time. For example, coming into this, I watched a little bit of the Arkansas Alabama A&M game. And
Right.
Arkansas kind of warmed down and beat them, but I was telling Jerry, so I was impressed with Alabama and A&M. They got some dudes over there.
Man, they was great first quarter.
They played a great first quarter. That's my point. Until the depth and the talent kind of separated itself, but they were in that game.
Yeah.
So you got to look at Alabama A&M as a sleeper in the SWAC to me, based on what I saw watching the game.
Yes, sir.
But you can never count anybody out. That's why we play the game. Historically, you could go back into the days because Grambling and Louisiana Tech are close to each other, right?
Right.
Louisiana Tech didn't want none of Grambling for a long time.
Yep.
It took them a long time to play them. And why does that say? Because, the SWAC schools have always had the talent. And then, when things happen school-wise, just think if we still had all of those guys playing at these SWAC schools. Now, that's why it's big in recruiting to get a guy like Rodney Ojo. I happened to see Rodney Ojo when he was at Klein Collins,
Yes,
707.
Okay.
He's a big body target that could have played Power 4 football. But you get him right in the backyard. He's close to home. That's how you sell kids like that. And, in the Houston area, hey, why not play this big time football? Every week it's a celebration when you play these classics and things like that. The atmosphere, the band. If you go and play on the hill and go to a home game in Prairie View, you're getting some of the best in college football, no matter where you are in the country. From the
Yes, sir.
tailgating to the band, and then now to play on the field with Coach Jackson. I really like the momentum that Prairie View's building with that program. He came in and said it. He put his foot down, and he showed some guys the door, but he brought some guys in that have like-minded mentality in that coaching staff. In the recruiting department, they upped the ante. They brought in some guys, from the high school ranks. South Oak Cliff, one of the coaches was from South Oak Cliff, coached running backs and was the OC down there. He's got a championship pedigree. He's been in Sam Houston State. So he's changing the culture. And I think that's the thing that's benefiting Prairie View right now. Everybody should be excited about this game this weekend.
Well, these first few weeks of the season, the good thing is speaking to Alcorn, and you can always play up, right? You can always play inspired ball and kind of turn it around. It's an out of conference loss, so the season is not over,
Right?
like you're saying. But I think a big point is you can also mask your tendencies a lot sooner than what a lot of people are not going to pick up. Okay, this DB moves his foot this way. and this is a sign he does this. They're not going to be able to pick that up off of the first few games, and so you're able to kind of if you can correct those things. That's why they say the teams make the biggest improvement from week 1 to week 2.
That's
right. You can stop that dead in its tracks before it gets too far gone and you're midway through the season and people got your number. Right. And so absolutely, I think this game coming up is a must win. That's what I've been calling it, from a momentum standpoint, but also, what does it look like for us to win this game? And who do we have next? Rice?
Yes, sir.
Rice to go into that game, a game that we lost by 3 points under Coach Dooley, right? That we should have won.
Right.
There's no doubt about that. Rice knew we were winning. We knew we were winning. And we did what I just said earlier. We had a PWI blunder. We had, hey, this is an FBS program. And we just totally threw that game away, right? What does it look like for us to come in undefeated into that game and play some really inspired ball, especially because we took one of their recruits and we recruited some of the other guys that are in the portal. So, I think that this is a must win. And if we can do what I think, and I think y'all believe we can do, going into that Rice game, and we have Northwestern ourselves. So Rice and Northwestern, if we can come out of there clean, man, we're going to be the talk of the country. That's just going to be what it is. So, but let's see.
And now, what we've all been waiting for. Let me get us right, guys. We have week number 2. Let me see. Let me go ahead and give us the big screen. So we got some bold picks, but we got the Alabama State Southern game. It's pretty consensus. I'm surprised Mr. Peavy versus everybody picked Southern. I am losing faith in them week by week. But that's what it's looking like. We got Jackson State versus USM. I know you guys are going to beat me up. I know. But my opinion is this. I want no other team to come out the East more than Jackson. I want them to come to Houston and play us as we host our SWAC championship. I want to beat the best, and I don't want any excuses. I don't want them to say it was a down year. I don't want them to say that, if it was at the vet, no. I want to be 8-0 going in the SWAC championship. I want them to be 8-0 in conference going in the SWAC championship, handling business. And then we also have Alcorn versus Alabama A&M, as Mr. Henry talked about. Hey, we're sold. We're sold on Alabama A&M. So how do you guys feel about our picks, and how do you guys feel about these games that are coming up?
I mean, I told you I liked Alabama A&M. For what I saw against Arkansas, they really held their own, improved it. Like you're saying, the days of taking checks and getting your rear kicked in, that's over with. You know what I'm saying? You got to have some SWAC pride when you go and play. Of course, when you play each other, you want to beat each other. But when you go and see the SWAC against PWIs, against FCS teams, you want them to win, and you want them to come out on top. I do like what Jackson State is doing, so that's a good pick there. But definitely Alabama A&M is going to have something to say about this. You know what I'm saying? I really think they might be a sleeper team coming out of the East on the real. I was really impressed with them. Some of the speed and the trenches, they were able to move the crowd a little bit, move some of those big defensive linemen for Arkansas off the axis a little bit, and they got some guys that can run. I mean, they put up some points as well. So, I mean, really look at those guys as a sleeper. Go back and watch that Arkansas game if you can, and take a look at them.
Hey, I pick Jackson. Elvin, don't beat me up, man. Don't beat me up.
Taylor, my friend, you have faith the size of a mustard seed, because there's no way. I got the university of stealing money by a lot. Okay, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna say this about Southern too. Lionel, you also have faith the size of the mustard seed. I am rooting for Southern's downfall. Let me be very clear.
Yeah,
not because I don't like Southern, but I'm more so rooting because I like Southern when they upset. It really is a sight to see, and they really are staring at potentially being, let's see, they had Central, they lost to Central, they have Valley, they beat Valley, they play Bama State this week. If they lose this game, they have Fresno State, Jackson, and then us. And I don't see them winning any of those 3 games after this one. So, I am looking for them to be like, Coach McNair, go ahead and take over the reins from here, and Graves got to go. And so I don't know why you picked Southern, Lionel, but, we're going to get you drug tested here soon, and it's going to be all right. Y'all must want me to win these picks, man. And I'm okay with that. Let me win. That's easy.
Cole, you been quiet over there, man. You seem like you still pondering.
Nah, man, I'm just hearing all this Southern slander, and Alabama State has to show me. Andrew Body himself has to show me that he can go into Mumford. They're not playing like how he used to play Southern at TSU in Dallas. He got to go to Mumford and play. You know they like to cheat out there in Mumford. So to beat them by 3, you got to beat them by 10. That's all I'm saying. I actually chose Southern to win that game. I think Southern finally got their first victory. I think they're going to start to understand how their offense is flowing, and I believe that they will. I'm going to call it another shootout, man. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game over there in Mumford Stadium, Baton Rouge. So I got Southern for that. Now, y'all all have Alabama A&M. Hey, I got Alcorn. I got Alcorn.
I don't know about that, bro.
And all that. But I got Alcorn, man. I got the West coming out here showing that, hey, we got to get on this board. We can't let – and I'm just saying this because they're not going to let PV be number 1 in the West for 2 weeks in a row now. One of those teams getting that done.
I don't know about that, bro.
Yeah,
Kobe.
I like Alcorn now. Jacksonville Southern Miss. I got Southern Miss. I ain't even going against Kayla on this one. I got Southern Miss. So,
I agree with you on that.
Kobe, you need to meet us at the clinic too with Lionel. We're gonna get you tested, my friend.
I ain't gonna lie, Kayla. I almost went along with you until I realized who they were playing. I mean, oh no.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Oh, this Southern Miss. Oh nah, I don't know about that.
I ain't gonna lie. I got versus the Southern and Alabama State game. My coach, I ain't gonna lie, the coach I get the most gratitude to. He coached for Alabama State, but my brother coached for Southern. So in this situation, I love my coach, but I'm going with Southern.
Okay.
I gotta go with Southern.
Talking about former teammate Chance Jones.
Chance Jones, man. Shout out Chance Jones. I'm going with Southern, man. Southern Miss, yeah, K, my brother, and I love him to death, but I'm going with Southern Miss.
Yeah, Kayla, I don't know, bro.
Hey, don't put me in a straitjacket, man. Don't put me.
You going to the clinic? You going to the clinic too? Yeah, you going there? Don't worry.
And for Alabama A&M and Alcorn, I think they're gonna get it done in Lorman, man. I think they're gonna get it done, dog.
I think Alabama.
Yeah, it's a home game for the Bulldogs. Coach man.
I think the Braves can. I think the Braves can go into Alabama and handle business.
I don't know about that, big bro.
Hey, that quarter is.
I don't know about that, big
Hey,
bro.
we can't leave nothing off the table. Anything is possible. That's a fact.
Well, let me ask you this about Alcorn. What do you think about? I don't know if you've watched a lot of them, or I guess their game this past week. But what do you think that they need to clean up that they can look like a much improved team? What do you see?
I'm gonna be honest. I really didn't watch a lot of the Alcorn in their previous game, but one thing I will say, it's a SWAC game. I can't stress that enough. Like, yeah, Alcorn might have had some minor mistakes that they could have fixed to been better in their first game, but I just know when they roll into Alabama, it's a clean slate. We're not gonna be as bad as last week. We're gonna be better. We gotta be better. And they just gonna come with more effort and intensity too. So I'm liking for Alcorn to pull out the dub in this game.
Yeah, I agree with Evan Jones right there. Sam Shade.
Well, all I can say is Alcorn, I believe their quarterbacks, both of them that they played, had 3 turnovers. And I think they're going to get rid of all of that. We're not going to allow them to throw 2 picks. I think it was 2 picks and a fumble. Hey, I don't see them playing, like y'all say, when they play the other FCS schools. Guys like to be a little timid, not to take it serious. I don't see them going out there and having another 3-turnover game back-to-back weeks. I don't believe Alcorn is going to do that. And if Alcorn can establish running the ball as Alcorn usually does, Alabama A&M, they better strap it up. That's all I know.
Yeah, I just feel like Alabama A&M got better. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's all I say.
Well, from my analysis, what I was able to see this week, every team in the SWAC, except TSU, has a real quarterback problem. If they lost, their offense was very stagnant. They scored either 0 offensive touchdowns or 1 offensive touchdown. They have a hard time even getting good field position and getting in field goal position to even add points on the board. So for a team like Alcorn, for a team like Southern, I'm just having a hard time understanding who is going to generate that offense for them, knowing that they don't have a running back, that's able to carry the ball 20 to 30 times a game.
Yeah, well, and another thing with Southern, their quarterback, their QB1, Jalen Woods, he's out with a concussion protocol. He's out until the Jackson State game. So for the next 2 games, he's out. And Cam McCoy is a great runner. He can definitely produce some rushing yards, but his throwing ability, I'm not that confident in. And I think looking at that Bama State team, even if Andrew Body has a mediocre day, I think it's enough to get by Southern. The defense is going to be good. We know that. It's really just going to come down to who has the better offense, in my opinion. And I think if Andrew Body and crew can keep the momentum going and get it rolling, it could be a long day for Southern. And if he plays like he did against UAB, it's going to get ugly quick. I just don't see Southern putting it in the air in the ball. I mean, the ball in the air as many times and getting up and down the field quite as quickly. So, but we shall see, because they have a great running back in Trey Holly. He's Mr. Louisiana, so maybe he has a day for himself, like a Ahmad Miller that could help make up the difference. But
is that the kid that came from LSU?
Yeah. He
just getting his feet wet. He's still trying to figure it out. For a running back, you have to have rhythm, and you have to understand the scheme as well as how to get, turned and get in the right direction behind those big bodies. You know what I'm saying? So that takes time. By mid-season, he should be, where he needs to be. The expectations have been high since he's been on campus over at Southern. So.
Yeah. Oh, Lionel reporting that he got hurt. He got hurt in what way? That's the real question.
Really? Oh, man.
Because that's a blow there if he did get hurt.
Yeah, for sure.
Who is this?
Trey Holly.
Trey Holly got hurt.
Mr. Chucky Dog.
So then you still pick Southern, Lionel? Oh yeah, we getting you tested, brother.
Don't worry. No information.
You can get the clinic Monday morning, brother.
Yes, sir. For our last and final topic, fellas, how do we feel about the SWAC TV rollout? I know that I was able to watch the best game of the night, which happened to be the Labor Day Classic. But boy, was that Valley versus Southern game bad. They didn't have the score. They didn't have the down and distance. They didn't have really anything to indicate who is playing other than the score. What are you guys' feedback? I'm hearing a lot of mixed reviews, more negative than positive. But to say that it was day one and everything actually worked, I am proud of what SWAC TV has to offer, especially with it being free. But, everybody has their opinion. How do you guys feel about this?
Well, if it's as bad as people saying that it is, then we're in for a long season because we got 45 games on there. So that's where most of our games will be played in the conference, is on SWAC TV. What I'll say is I think location matters, because on the one hand, with the Southern Valley situation, and this is just me being honest, not disrespectful, hopefully, there's nuance to even showing a game at Valley, because they have the track. So, the track is around the field, so the stands are already so far back, and the way that it kind of sits, right, it's already a little bit different than what you would say a traditional game would be showed at with a press box. So there's things to keep in mind with where you're located. Signal's not necessarily the best and all that, but I would say this. I'm just looking at the picture, right? We got to give it some grace. It's a new platform. There's going to be, you got to run through the attrition of getting better over time with this thing. But I think the picture quality was great, even for it to be at Valley. I think that getting some of those other minor details can be fixed. I would say even the guys calling the game, Mo Carter and Reggie Flood, I think they did a great job. I don't think that it was unbearable to listen to them. So all in all, if I had to give a grade, I would say for that specific game, hey, you know what? B- C+ range. It could be much better, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Now, without the other end of that is the TSU, Prairie View game, Prairie View TSU game, rather. I think that was pretty good. I think that it carried its weight. I'm hearing some people say they couldn't, it had some glitches here and there. That's going to happen with any technology. But all in all, I looking back at it, when I look at SWAC TV, because I was at the game, but looking at it, I'm just like, hey, this looks pretty good. I can't really complain about much. So that's my take on it. I don't know what you guys think.
I haven't had a chance to peep game yet, but I will tap in this weekend. Just pulling up the website. I mean, anything that you can do to promote HBCUs and try to lift them up is in a positive direction. That's something that they didn't have last year. And any light that can be shed on it is good. It's good press or good publicity. So I'll definitely tap in. I'm interested to see this UTRGV game. So I'll definitely have to tap in with that. I'm gonna have to have my lazy eye on that one.
Right. And we at least know TSU, all their games gonna be crystal clear. Especially with them having the same equipment that the Houston Dynamo use. I didn't know this, but I guess Sam Houston, that's their new home stadium for this season as well. So I know TSU, in my opinion, they have the best broadcast going on right now.
Well, what I did notice about the SWAC TV, I was able to go back and rewatch our Prairie View game, and I'm pretty sure they had every other SWAC game on there able to rewatch, and it's free. Hey, ain't no better than that. You don't have to pay for a subscription. Everybody can see it's just overall exposure. So being able to go back and break down my own film of the other teams without having to look it up on YouTube, try to find what website, what accounts have certain games, I just go straight to SWAC TV. Hey, it's better. It's good for me. I remember not being able to look at none of that. Just going off words. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's facts. 1,000% facts.
Facts.
But yeah, man.
That's great, fellas. Yes, sir. I'm trying to see if anybody got any questions. To wrap up the pod. Okay. Let's see what we got. I honestly, I love the mind that Buckner has, especially in that fourth quarter on the last drive when we had that game-winning touchdown pass. In reality, he drew up 2 touchdown plays back to back. I feel great knowing that we have an offensive mind. No disrespect to Mark Frederick, but Mr. Inside Zone play action crossers, right? We actually have an offense that's able to attack you on multiple levels of the field. We have the short passing game. We have the little screens, the little swings. We have different forms of the run game. It's not just inside zone. So I love the upgrade that we made with Coach Buckner.
Yeah, I would say there's one caveat to what you're saying. He did call all the plays leading up to the last play, but Cam called that play. Coach Jack talked about that in the post-game press conference that, Cam Peters called the last play to win the game. So, I think we got a good OC somewhere between Cam and Coach Buckner. Somebody got something going on. So it's working. Oh, man. But
Coach Buckner is definitely doing his thing already. He didn't really show, you can't let him show your whole bag week 1. But it being an important game, having to put a 1-minute drill to get down the field and saying that Cam Peters called the game-winning play, hey, man, that's very great. I love how he executed the different formations. Hey, I've been saying this for a while. This is SWAC. You come in and bring different formations. Hey, change up how the SWAC play. We're gonna have success. So I love seeing that he's giving us quads. He's giving us quads with a running back. Hey, put all you guys on one side of the field. So he's just giving us a lot of different looks, getting those tight ends involved. We went out there, we ran a formation with 3 tight ends and still threw the ball. I said, "Ooh, yeah." Hey, I said, he in his bag already. So I just know it's only up from here. That was only week 1. He's going to continue to get better, continue to get his flow going, continue to know his players. And week by week, we'll go 1-0 and game plan. We're going to be straight.
Absolutely. What time are we getting on campus on Saturday? That's a good question. Early?
If I'm correct, game's at 6. Panther Walk got to be at 3:00. I really want to be there for the Panther Walk. Be able to support those guys and keep the tradition alive. I don't know if we're doing that this year yet, but if we are, I will try to be there as early as possible. Because hey, we gotta pack it out. We have no excuses but to pack it out. Because I don't feel like hearing from JSU, the attendance warriors, about not having 60,000 people at Panther Stadium.
I'm leaving campus at 1. I'm leaving Houston at 1 to get to campus. So,
okay,
Darius. So if you're out there early, just let me know. But I'll be out there. Usually, I do my little tradition. I go to Buc-ee's. I get a little sandwich or a burrito, eat it in the parking lot, and then we ready to go. Maybe some beverages are there as well. But I think that I'll probably be there around 2:00 or so, and to be kicking at the tailgate.
Hey, Truth Seeker, you're right. Honestly, they had the least attended game for the SWAC.
Man, leave them people alone, man.
It's the Tides.
We're gonna be out here. We're gonna be here another 2 hours. You say JSU, 400 people show up, and we're gonna be out there. Listen, I'm ready. I had time earlier today. Look. I was already turned up, but it's a holy channel, so I can't say it like I was seeing it. Lionel gonna find me, but I had their number earlier. We really did. So,
yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Well, this has been a great show, guys. I just want to say thank you for coming on. You guys definitely it's an open house. Coming on anytime y'all feel like it. Be in the comments, whatever. Obviously, come to the Hill. We love to meet you guys in person. And man, obviously homecoming's coming up and everything else, but we got other games too. And man, we appreciate y'all's expertise. It's really good to hear from some guys that know a lot more than what we do. And we're just trying to make this show as good as it can be. And thank you to all in the comments. We don't always get it right, but we're trying to, make sure we do a good job for you. So, and for PV.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys. Hey, it was great hanging with you guys. Mr. Henry, thank you so much.
Sir.
Blessing us with your presence. Mr.
Absolutely.
Arrington Taylor, Kobe Lewis, thank you guys for your insight. Y'all gave us a lot of actual X's and O's and football knowledge that a lot of these podcasts are lacking. And I appreciate y'all time.
Man, absolutely. Anytime. I'm gonna pull up. I was just looking at the media credentials, man. I'm gonna have to pull up. I'm a sideline guy, so I got to be in the mix.
Well, if they give you in trouble, let us know. We will handle all the disrespect. We will make sure if anybody you have it, you're good.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna pull up. I was just looking at the schedule while we're on, man. I'm gonna definitely have to pull up. Great show. Shout out to Jairus, man. We've been doing a little work together, and my schedule allotted for me to come on, man. And listen, I'm gonna be tapping in with y'all, man. Anytime y'all want me, just let me know. Anytime.
Yes, I appreciate that. And how can we find your channel once again so people
can? On Your Mark shows. On Your Mark show is on YouTube as well. It's the On Your Mark Show YouTube channel and onthemarksports.com. You got high school football, college football as well. All you have to do is scroll down at the bottom. It says let's get on the mark, and you can sign up, email first and last name, and you get every time I drop something, you get an email. You know what I'm saying? So I got a guy cover some stuff in Tennessee. I got my top 10 in the state of Texas and 5A D2, 5A D1, and 6A right now. So man, tap in with me. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you.
All right, guys.
Absolutely.
Who's the more deserving of our Player of the Game award tonight than that guy, number 4, Cameron Peters, presented tonight by Gatorade. Check out Cameron Peters and what a night he had. And they changed that to, it's Pepsi, excuse me. Pepsi is our sponsor.
I ain't gonna lie, I was putting highlighter was on. I'm throwing his hands up.